r/AskReddit by Reddify. What should you not buy cheap? Tattoos. Good tattoos aren't cheap. And cheap tattoos aren't good. Good. Cheap. Fast. Pick any two. A power supply unit for a desktop computer. On a side note, I saw a friend's computer a week ago that had the housing removed from the SU. You could literally touch the internal components of it. He didn't seem to care when I warned him that it could literally kill him. So keep your dirty peen beaters out of his SU. If you work on your cars, never buy cheap jacks and jack stands. The life you save will be your own. Yeah. On the other hand, get a good one and it will probably outlive you. Cheap ones just live as long as you do. Smoke detectors. Mattresses. Knives. Meat. Hookers. I'm sensing a wild evening. The smoke detectors sound like the best part. Cold weather gear. Obviously. If you're rarely out in the cold or live in an area that doesn't get too old, then you can skimp and get the cheap stuff. But if you know you're going to be outside in the cold for extended periods of time, you owe it to yourself to splurge on the good stuff. Patagonia. Mountain Hardware. LL. Bean. Etc. The difference is night and day. Aside from just working better, they look much better and last much longer. Many of the companies also stand behind their products very well. I have a 5-year-old Patagonia jacket that has been through hell and back. The zipper broke and I sent it back to Patagonia. They replaced it for free and sent it back. No questions asked. On my SO's advice, I just got a pair of Hestra gloves after buying only basic Costco type gloves for the past 20+ years. I always thought it was normal for your hands to be painful and numb out in the cold even with gloves on. I figured I was just a bigger baby about it than most people. Holy hell. What a difference. I don't think I can ever go back now. My wife joked about my astronaut gloves that I wear when I'm clearing snow. They're super thick and go halfway up my arm. Plus they cinch down over my jacket so that I don't have to worry about snow getting in. Then, she tried them when I was away on a business trip and she had to clear her car off. Guess who bought her own pair of astronaut gloves? LASIK surgery. Those places at $150 I seem sketchy. Thing is, the modern machinery is subscription based. It costs more than $150 in license fees every time you fire a modern LASIK machine. Makes you wonder WTF they are using if they can charge $150. It's a bait offer to get you in the door. The $150 price is only for a less than 1.0 correction and no astigmatism. No one would really consider LASIK if they could squint their way to 20/20. Plastic surgery. Definitely not something you want to bargain shop for. Hit even expensive plastic surgery can go south, especially when people overdo it. Nothing like looking like a duck with drum-tight skin and an inability to replicate human facial expressions. Did you hear about the woman who gave her child Botox injections so that her daughter could win more beauty pageants? The child didn't look surprised. A parachute. This is so true. I remember one time I made this mistake. I got a second-hand parachute that immediately got torn apart when I deployed it. I had no backup parachute. There was no one around me to save me, and I was thousands of feet in that air with absolutely no way to survive. Never again. Hit fam. Sorry you died. Hope you get better soon. Boots. Worth every penny. Yup. People thought I was crazy spending $300 on a pair of Red Wings 5 years ago. Just got them rehealed this year and they are still going strong. There is a custom boot shop here that I got my motorcycle boots at 7 years ago. Best $180 I ever spent. Been resold once. Toilet paper. We refer to the TP at my parents' house as Soviet ply. Brakes. Ducking cheap brakes suck. Not making that mistake again. If your brakes are too cheap you won't be able to make that mistake again. You would be astounded how well metal on metal will bring you to a stop. Once you wear completely though the brake pad friction material and all you have is the metal backer pressing directly against your rotor, you'll come to a stop just fine. So long as you can stand the awful grinding noise. Tattoos are probably the biggest one. That hits on you for life. I think I'm up to 15 or something of them. If your biggest concern about a tattoo is the price, you can't afford that tattoo. I'm a tattoo artist and that's something we have to say all the time. Tattoos are a luxury. If you can't afford to pay for good quality work, then maybe you should rethink your priorities. My first tattoo I got overcharged. Not too much. Paid $300 for what could've been a $150-200 piece, no problem. It turned out well, but damn, when I tell people the price they act like I got ripped off. Okay bud. I see you there with your dozen small pieces which look like they were done by a blind paraplegic. All good answers here, but as someone who likes to build it on his free time. Tools. Cheap tools will always become useless at the most inopportune times, or at the very best last way shorter than a quality made tool. Nothing's more frustrating than breaking a drill bit or, God forbid, having your $25 car jack break on you. Luckily for me I had stands, but it could have cost my life saving a few bucks. I heard buy cheap to get started. When those break, or look like they are failing to do a job properly, then buy a nicer unit as you're using that one enough to justify the upgrade. I follow this method, and it has worked great for me. Though I've still yet to find normal screwdrivers or bits that won't just grind themselves down to hit if on a tough screw. Also, I ducking hate Phillips head screws. Just saying. Should I be looking to Mac or Snap-on for screwdrivers at this point? Do they even make those? Anything that touches the ground. Shoes/tires/bed. How much should I pay for a husband? 7. If you are enjoying the video, please give a thumbs up and leave a comment. Several years ago, I made the mistake of buying razors at a dollar store. Now, I know what you're thinking. Razors are just hunks of plastic with some sharpened bits of metal stuck in them. Right? As long as they can clear away stubble. Then what else is really important? Sure. Some razors might be a little bit more effective than others. But past a certain price point, all you're really paying for is a bunch of unnecessary enhancement in the form of ergonomically designed handles and flashy packaging. Let me tell you, though, there's a huge difference between an inexpensive razor and a cheap one. There's also a huge difference between shaving and scraping. I really don't need to go into much more detail than that. If you've never had the misfortune of using a cheap razor, then count yourself lucky. And if you're ever curious about what they do to their unsuspecting victims, then just imagine what it would be like to shave with a cheese grater. TL. Doctor, cheap razors are only good for making your skin look like it has been attacked by an ornery ferret. When I was in high school I was captain of the swim team. Every year before the championship, all the guys would get together after practice, turn on all the showers in the locker room, and shave down from head to toe. All the upperclassmen knew the drill, but we basically told the freshmen to bring a pack of good razors and a can of shaving cream, and that everyone was responsible for themselves. You get what you bring. Last practice before the championship wraps up, and we all head to the locker room. I set up a hair buzzing station in one of the handicap stalls with the juniors sitting people down on the toilet one at a time, and lopping off their hair down to a number 1 or number 2. In the showers we had 3 chairs for the newly shorn to sit in, while their teammates shaved them down to chrome dome with razors, and left the rest of the line of showers for guys to shave their bodies. Once I'd gone through the process, captain has to take the plunge first. After all, everyone started following along behind. As I was shaving, having my head shaved with the Ultra Turbo Quattro Schick 9000 Comfort Flex multi-blade razor with sensitivity gel that I had bought expressly for the purpose, I looked down the line and see a poor, confused freshman standing in the door with a can of Burma Shave and a bag of 10C/Bic single blade razors, and cringed so hard that the guy shaving my head nearly nicked my immaculate dome. The poor guy was like 13 and barely had peach fuzz on his face. So one of us should have realized he wouldn't have the faintest idea what to buy. That poor kid was a trooper. Even when he realized how badly he had ducked up by buying the cheapest razors he could find, he refused all offers to fix his plight. One of us carefully started to shave his head, but could hardly make a stroke on the uneven, hard surface without drawing blood. After a few tries we gave up and made him let us use an extra razor cartridge that someone had purchased. The kid ended up with a beautiful smooth head and a single patch with a half dozen nicks and scratches where we tried to use the Bix. We sent him home with instructions to make his sister, who was on the girls' team, stop at the drugstore on the way so he could buy something decent to shave his body with. Lopping off their hair down to a number 1 or number 2. Why not take the guard off? Definitely prostitutes. HMN. Do I want $101 prostitutes? Or one $100 prostitute? I know a guy that paid for one $130. 000 prostitute. Edit. Plus 10k. My dad used to say things that keep you from hitting the ground: shoes, beds and tires. And parachutes. Plainly. Make sure to like and subscribe so we can watch together.